Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Sauce. Week 9 college football's here already, and we got the Midweek Conference USA games. I actually crushed these last week. I think I went 7-1. Yeah, pretty sure it was 7-1 in the midweek games. It was a great college football week. Wish I could say the same about the NFL Sunday. I got crushed, but let's put it in the past. We got 2 Conference USA games on Tuesday night. Let's get it started.
Welcome to The Sauce. The Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
First up, we got New Mexico State on the road at Louisiana Tech. Line is La Tech -2.5. It's down from 3. Total sitting at 52. So the public's all over New Mexico State in this one, and with good reason. I mean, the Aggies have looked really strong recently. Odds makers react to it. Like I said, the line dropped from 3 down to 2.5. Public still seems to be coming in on the Aggies. So like I said, New Mexico State has looked really strong, looking like a must-bet team, honestly. I know that loss at Hawaii looks bad, but look at it in context. They traveled all the way out to Hawaii as their 3rd straight road game, and the 2 games before that, they went on the road to Liberty in week 2. One of the biggest games of the season. Any team in Conference USA, the game against Liberty is going to be one of the biggest games of the season. They go on the road to Liberty, which is in Virginia, then directly fly all the way to New Mexico for a rivalry game, then immediately fly out to Hawaii, who's not even in their conference, a relatively meaningless game in the New Mexico State schedule. I'm not putting too much weight into that one. Look at what New Mexico State has done since that Hawaii game. They had their bye week. Now they come back and put up 3 straight dominant wins. Now the New Mexico State offense, I'm not questioning. They could definitely run the football. Diego Pavia's been really smart. Smart as in not turning the ball over. 10 touchdowns, just 1 interception in their last 5 games. I trust the Aggies offensively. But New Mexico State defensively, I do have to question a little bit. Because who have they played recently? The best offense they've seen in the last 3 games was UTEP, who's not only sitting at just 118th offensively, but they had their 4th string quarterback in that game. This Louisiana Tech offense will be the best offense New Mexico State has seen since week 2 against Liberty, all the way back on September 9th. So I think that's what a lot of the public is missing, coming in heavy on New Mexico State. That defense isn't very good, and they've played almost 0 offenses. Louisiana Tech can throw the ball. I think Hank Bachmeier may have gotten his starting job back. He took over in the middle of the Middle Tennessee game. Louisiana Tech threw for 340 yards in that game. Hank Bachmeier took over at quarterback midway through the 3rd quarter. Louisiana Tech was down 24-9 at the time, midway through the 3rd quarter. Hank Bachmeier comes in at quarterback, marches them right down the field and scores twice. That game actually came down to the wire. Hank Bachmeier was 16 of 24, 178 yards and a touchdown in just 18 minutes. He didn't come in until halfway through the 3rd quarter. La Tech at home, coming off a bye week against a New Mexico State secondary that, let's face it, hasn't been tested in a while. I mean, even the Liberty game, Liberty's got a strong offense. They can't really throw the ball. I mean, they really haven't been tested this whole season, that secondary. They've only played 2 passing offenses on the entire year. Sam Houston State and Hawaii. Louisiana Tech should be able to make plays through the air on the Aggies defense, which is why I'm taking Tech here. I mean, we haven't really seen it this season, but historically, Sonny Cumbie's been a reliable coach to back at home, coming off a bye week against a New Mexico State team that's won 3 straight games against bad teams and whose betting value is at an all-time high. It's time to sell, in my opinion, so I'm on La Tech. I'm going to wait it out, though. It's at 2.5 now. I would love to get a 2 or even a -1.5 closer to kickoff, but I'm on the Bulldogs next game. So more Conference USA. Liberty on the road at Western Kentucky. WKU is catching 5 points now, which is up from 4. That just moved about a couple hours ago. Total sitting at 60.5. So public's all over Liberty again. I mean, that's not a surprise. Public's betting Liberty every single week. Line does react to it. Like I said, it was at 4, then it was at 4.5, and now it's up to 5 as of a couple hours ago. I doubt this gets up to 6, but I'm sure we'll see some 5.5s up shortly. This one's tough. Obviously, my initial lean was to take the points of Western Kentucky. I mean, catching 5 points at home, coming off an embarrassing loss. Liberty 7-0, and everyone's hammering them. But Western Kentucky, I mean, that loss to Jacksonville State last week, I watched that second half. That was humiliating. That's like get your head coach fired performance, the second half against Jacksonville State. But whatever, let's break these 2 teams down. So if you remember, I faded Liberty last week. I took Middle Tennessee plus 14.5. I said I didn't trust the Liberty secondary. They hadn't seen a legitimate passing attack, and I thought Vadiato would make plays through the air and keep it close. And that's basically what happened. Vadiato threw for 332 yards and 4 touchdowns. He threw 2 interceptions and still had a 165 passer rating. Western Kentucky's got an even better passing attack than Middle Tennessee, actually by a pretty large margin. They may have just the 73rd overall rated offense, but they're 29th in effective pass. Middle Tennessee is all the way back at 60th. What's keeping me from just hammering Western Kentucky here is we can't just ignore what we saw from Austin Reed against Jacksonville State last week. I mean, Jacksonville State's pass defense is not good. To complete just 50% of your passes, 250 yards, a 103 passer rating against a bad Jacksonville State secondary, it's making it extremely difficult to put my money on this dude. I mean, I think Liberty's secondary is vulnerable. I think Liberty's defense is vulnerable to the pass. I'm just terrified based on what we saw last week. Now, if you're willing to just write off the second half of that Jacksonville State game, then Western Kentucky's definitely the play here. If you just want to write that off, hey, it was a fluke, it was a bad half, it happens, because this game's now back home at Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers haven't even lost a game at home this year. They're a perfect 3-0, and they've actually been dominant in all three. The closest anyone's come is South Florida at 17. They beat their opponents by 17, 30, and 21 at home. Austin Reed's been a much more efficient passer at home as well. So I like Austin Reed in the passing attack to bounce back at home and score points on Liberty. The question is, can we count on the Western Kentucky defense to make stops here? In case you haven't heard, the Liberty rushing attack is an absolute problem. They're now ranked 5th in the FBS in effective rush. 5th! A Conference USA team. That's crazy. Whether it's Salty or Cooley, there's not many defenses in the FBS that can stop these guys on the ground. I feel like we do have to point out, though, Liberty hasn't played a ton of good run defenses. Western Kentucky's 50th in the FBS in effective rush. They're 50th, which on paper would be the best run defense Liberty has seen so far this season. And Liberty doesn't have much of a passing attack. They're pretty one-dimensional. Now, Jacksonville State's got a decent run defense. They're 61st, and we just saw Liberty go on the road and beat them up pretty good. But they only averaged 4.5 yards per carry. Jacksonville State's offense really lost them that game. They couldn't do anything. Western Kentucky has an offense, and they can throw the ball. Jacksonville State can't throw the ball at all. Like I said, this is a tough one. I mean, on paper, I could see how Liberty would be the play. They've been the better team, but laying 5 points on the road, I need to absolutely love it, and I don't. I think Western Kentucky's going to get up for this game. This is their Super Bowl. They're getting up for this one, especially coming off that embarrassing loss. So I like the WKU defense to give Liberty's rushing attack some problems. So I'm going to take the points. This isn't one of my favorite bets, but give me Western Kentucky +5. I'll wait it out, hopefully get a 5.5 or maybe a 6, but I doubt I'll get that. If you want my top bets or any of the staff's top bets for all the sports parlays of the day, or you want to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. College football week 9 made almost 3 units last week. Let's follow that up with another green week. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.